From CEFCU Arena in Normal, Illinois, Clutch Sports Media presents live coverage of the IHSA Girls Basketball State Finals. Coming up next, a Class 2A semifinal matchup between Peoria Notre Dame and Regina Dominican out of Wilmette. Going to be a good one. Glad you're with us on ClutchSportsIL.com and YouTube. I'm Joey Wright. Just to my left is Michael Savoy. We're ready to take you through what should be a great game. Michael, looking at this matchup on paper as we come up on the national anthem here shortly, you'd give Peoria Notre Dame a little bit of an edge, 32-4 overall, a perfect 10-0 in the Big 12 Conference. But Regina Dominican, 25-9, 5-2 among independent schools up in the Chicagoland area. They might have something to say about that.
Yeah, and when you think of Notre Dame, you think of the conference they play, and you think of the season they've had. You think of a team that's primed for this moment. They play in a very, very tough Big 12 conference, where they're one of, if not the smallest school in that conference. So they're primed for this moment. But for Regina, it's you look at what they've had to go through in this playoffs, and you look at the teams and think, oh, what are these teams they've played? But you know what? It doesn't matter who they played. They're here for a reason, and they're ready to take on PND.
Regina Dominican, as we mentioned, 25-9 here by way of a 53-40 win over Phillips in a super sectional hosted by Morton College. Peoria Notre Dame is here by way of a 55-39 win, over Rock Island Alleman in a super sectional hosted by Bureau Valley. We're coming up on the national anthem. We'll step aside for that and come back for basketball on ClutchSportsIL.com.
Thank you. Now we direct your attention to center court and ask you to join our guest soloist, Melody McLuhan, a senior at Lake Zurich High School, in the singing of our national anthem.
A fantastic rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner by a student from Lake Zurich High School, and that means it's almost time for basketball at CEFCU Arena in Bloomington, Illinois. Welcome again to Clutch Sports Media's live coverage of the IHSA Girls Basketball State Finals. Up next, Peoria Notre Dame and Regina Dominican square off in a Class 2A semifinal. It is the second appearance at the state tournament for each of these schools, both looking for their first state title in program history. I'm Joey Wright. To my left is Michael Savoy. Jonathan Michael with live coverage on Twitter and later on ClutchSportsIL.com. And Michael, as we look at this one here we are. Notre Dame, Regina Dominican, Irish, Panthers. How do you see it playing out?
Well, when you look at the rosters and how both these teams are configured, a lot of what Regina Dominican does is by committee because they don't have a lot of size on their team. But put it simple, they don't have a player that's over 6 foot or at 6 foot. You talk about their tallest player, it's a freshman, Bridget Conway. She's only 5'10", so they do a lot. very, very togetherness, and they don't have a true post player either. So it's going to be interesting how they figure out their offense against a Peoria Notre Dame team that is, to put it simply, they have size advantage against them, and that should be a key for Notre Dame going down the stretch of this game. Is how they use their size against the Regina Dominican. But I see this game being played pretty strongly by both teams, because both teams, they deserve to be here, and they should play like they deserve to be here. And I can't see anything more.
Regina Dominican, by the way, quick correction, third time in the IHSA State Finals, placed third both times here, 1984 and 2003. Notre Dame's here for the first time since 1994. Did not place in what was then the Class AA state tournament. Notre Dame's being introduced right now under the direction of Lane Langholf in his 6th season with PND, 136 and 66 record. They will line up like this. It'll be a 5'6 junior guard wearing number 5, Julia Mingus, lined up alongside a 5'11 junior forward, number 21 in blue tonight, Caitlin Cassidy. Number 22 in blue is a 5'7 senior guard, Maya Wardle, lining up alongside her sister, a freshman, 5'9 guard, number 23, Emmy Wardle. And Lexi Bear, a 6'1 sophomore guard, wearing number 24 for the Irish tonight, again under the direction of head coach Lane Langholf. Regina Dominican being introduced just in front of us here on the right bench as we look at it, right across the way on press row. Their lineup is as follows. A 5'9 sophomore forward, Olivia Fraterigo, wearing number 5 in white tonight. Peyton Olszewski is a 5'3 senior guard, wearing number 10. Natalia Serrato is a 5'6 sophomore guard. She'll wear number 12 this afternoon. Jillian DeFranza, wearing number 22 in white, a 5'7 sophomore guard. And Maddie Witchker is a 5'6 senior guard, wearing number 24 in white. Bob Newton, the coach of the Panthers in his 8th season, as part of his 2nd stint with this program. He has won 114 games against 110 losses. Michael, you mentioned that size advantage for Regina Dominican. If they are going to have a chance tonight, they've got to lean on Jillian DeFranza. She is a do-it-all threat. The 5'7 sophomore guard leads the team in points and specifically in three-pointers, 28 on the season.
Yeah, when you have the size advantage, you're not just relying on one player for Regina Dominican. I mean, there's a reason why they do a lot of stuff by committee, and there's a lot of reason why they have success, because you have to be able to, have all 5 players on your court be a difference maker for your team. And for Regina Dominican, if they really want to have success in this game, they got to hit their 3-point shots. They're also a good 3-point shooting team, and they can definitely shoot the ball. That's going to be key if they want to be in the game against Peoria Notre Dame.
Looking at Peoria Notre Dame, if you've followed the Irish all season long, you're well aware of the Wardle sisters, Maya and Emmy, the senior and the freshman. But it's a deeper roster than that. Julia Mingus, Lexi Bear, Caitlin Cassidy, the rest of that Irish starting 5 can make a dent, as can their bench.
Yeah, and the starting 5 doesn't ever really change with Peoria Notre Dame. We've seen the starting 5 pretty much the majority of the season, but the big thing with them is that during the postseason, they've been blowing out a lot of teams. So when it comes to letting the bench players play in those kind of games, they're letting them play in the fourth quarter for the majority of the fourth quarter. So they not only do the starters get significant playing time, but in a way the bench players get significant playing time. So they're well equipped for this game, and they're well equipped for making a deep run into the state tournament and possibly winning the whole thing.
A lot of youth between these two teams. Maya Wardle's the only senior in the starting lineup for the Irish, and Peyton Olszewski is the only senior in the starting lineup. 2 seniors in the starting lineup for the Panthers, Olszewski and Maddie Witchker. But still, Bob Newton telling the media yesterday that he thought the Panthers might make a run next season rather than this season. And for Peoria Notre Dame, how about the freshman Emmy Wardle? She has really come on lately.
Yeah, this game is all about the underclassmen, and for Regina Dominican, there's a lot of sophomores on this team. A lot of their production comes from their sophomores, plus there are a couple seniors in their starting lineup. And they're going to rely a lot on those sophomores once again, just like how they've done the whole season. And for Notre Dame, I mean, when you think of Notre Dame, you'll think of the senior Maya Wardle, and rightfully so. She's the one that's going to college at Eastern Kentucky, and a lot of the production actually so far in the later half of the postseason has come from Emmy Wardle. So a lot of the underclassmen have been big parts of the postseason runs for both of these teams.
Just about ready for tip-off at Sefcu Arena in Normal, Illinois, home of the Illinois State Redbirds. Great crowd in the lower bowl here in the arena this afternoon. Peoria Notre Dame student section off to our left behind us. Regina Dominican student section right across the way behind the Panther bench. Our IHSA officials tonight, Mike Lehman, Rob Reeder, and Carl Shreve. Ready to go in the jump ball circle, Natalia Serrato and Emmy Wardle as we get ready to go. Ball's in the air, we're underway, and quickly Notre Dame winning the tip-off, driving off to our right. Julia Mingus brings it up, they shovel it down to the corner, far corner three. Lexi Baer knocks it down. Notre Dame's leading three-point shooter has her 92nd three-point make of the year.
Well, we mentioned that, PND's on this situation often when they're competing for a state championship, or competing for a state championship appearance, so that shot's big.
Stolen by Mingus as the Panthers bring it ahead. She drives and lays it in with the left hand, left block, 5-0 PND. 30 seconds into the first quarter.
It's a big start by the Irish. They're not here often, so they got some nerves going into this game, but having 2 steals and a three-point basket going is pretty big for them.
Maya Wardle forced it loose as Olszewski brought it ahead across the timeline. Panthers get it back. They drive to the right wing. Serrato driving. Serrato from the right block. Finger roll falls. Natalia Serrato, lays it in, and it's 5-2. Notre Dame on the other end, driving down. High-low pass is a little overshot. Caitlin Cassidy was the target under the basket. It's a turnover, and the Panthers 1 minute into the game will inbound, trailing 5-2.
Yeah, they're inbounding into a PND press, and that's what Lane Linghoff has done all season with this crew, and he can definitely do it with the aggressiveness.
That is a turnover on the inbound pass. They were looking in for Olszewski, and she could not hold on. Dribbled it off her leg and out of bounds, and now Notre Dame will inbound from under the Panther basket. Notre Dame, by the way, in the road blue uniforms, green trim. Home whites for Dominican. Blue trim along the sides. Blue numbers and a 3 in the corner falls. Notre Dame, Maya Wardle knocks it down. 8-2 Irish early on.
It's a big start by PND. We were thinking before this that, PND has a lot of the advantages, so we weren't totally shocked right now that it's 8-2.
Regina Dominican finds itself needing a basket here in the early stages, trailing by 6, 90 seconds into the game. Ball in the hands of Maddie Witchker between the rings. Witchker drives right, pass to the right corner is caught by Serrato, and Serrato hands it off to Fraterigo. She drives, stops about 6 feet out, has her shot blocked. It's loose under the basket. Massive humanity. Will be a jump ball, and the arrow will favor Regina Dominican. And a much-needed break there for the Panthers, Michael. They didn't want to lose possession.
No, these possessions are pivotal for them, especially because of the size advantage that PND has. Every possession has to count for this Regina Dominican team.
They inbound. Notre Dame forces it loose, forces it off the leg of a Panther. I think that was DeFranza that it touched last. And now Notre Dame will inbound from under their own basket. A left-to-right drive with an 8-2 lead, 6:10 remaining in the first. So we'll see if the Irish can build here in the early stages. Wardle shovels along to Lexi Baer in the left corner. Baer's got to give it up, finds Mingus between the rings. Now to Maya Wardle, right corner. Wardle's going to take it up along the wing. They go along the perimeter, and to Baer on the left wing. She misses her second 3 attempt of the game. Got the first to fall, not so there. Panthers get the rebound, they clear it. DeFranza runs point. DeFranza over to her right now, and Peyton Olszewski. And she shovels down to Maddie Witchker. Witchker high right wing, guarded by Baer. Got about 3 steps on Baer, and now she'll try to center it up. Dribbles left, pass to the left corner, and Olszewski, she's got to dribble around, find some space, pass down to the right corner, and for Terrigo, nothing there. Notre Dame not letting the Panthers penetrate. Now it's between the rings and Serrato. Serrato, 33 games this season, 7.5 points per game. Gives it up to Olszewski. She nearly loses it. Tries to drive past Wardle. Wardle says no. That's Maya Wardle, pardon me. And now they force her to drive baseline, and she dribbles out of bounds. And that PND defense, Michael, not giving up anything in the early stages.
It's really their backbone of their team is their defense. They go as far as their defense goes, and that's why they've gotten this run in the playoffs, because they've been really good since the playoffs started.
Irish have a slim lead early, 8-2, under 5 minutes to play now in the opening frame. Glad you're with us on ClutchSportsIL.com. Maya Wardle's got it between the rings. Now pass to Julia Mingus. Left corner 3 is good. Second 3 the Irish have hit from that spot on the floor tonight. And they lead 11-2 with 4:40 showing in the first frame. PND lighting it up from the field early, 4 of 5 so far. Drive down low, and Olszewski loses it out of bounds. No, she's fouled, pardon me.
Yep.
And she'll go to the line for 2.
You talk about this matchup in terms of the uniforms of the coaches. You talk about the green blazer of Lane Langhoff, and the quilted, I guess you could say quilted pants of Coach Noon of Virginia Dominican. It's a pretty interesting matchup there.
They've got that textile pattern on it. Look like golf pants, right? But it's a rainbow pattern, as you mentioned. I see green diamonds, yellow diamonds, navy diamonds, red diamonds. At the line for 2 free throws, Olszewski got the first, and the second does not fall, and the rebound will be Peoria Notre Dame's. Caitlin Cassidy brings it in. Langhoff looking good in that green blazer, too, with the blue slacks. Here's a pass to Bear, a little high in the left corner. She's able to get it. Now they go down to the left block. Spinning is Cassidy, and she's fouled. And Peoria Notre Dame's Caitlin Cassidy will go to the line for 2 free throws. Caitlin Cassidy on the season. 36 of her 54 free throw attempts have fallen.
Yeah, this P&D team in general is just a really good free throw shooting team. And see it here. Hopefully, oh, I did it. Now it's a jinx.
Make that 36 of 55 for Cassidy. Leading free throw shooter for P&D is Julia Mingus. And Cassidy's second free throw will fall. As you mentioned, Michael, good free throw shooting team. It's 12-3 with 4:21 left in the first quarter. Both these teams looking to advance to the state title game for the first time in program history. A quick steal for P&D. They go back down to Cassidy, and Cassidy is fouled under the basket. And Notre Dame will inbound with a good chance to score.
Yeah, right now, I mean, Virginia Dominican doesn't have much going for them in terms of some of the advantages that you need to have for a basketball team. And compiled with these fouls they've been having, not a great start for them, honestly.
On the inbound, they go to Cassidy. Cassidy can't fire from point blank. Rebound cleared by the Panthers. They bring it up the right sideline. Stop in front of the P&D bench. Natalia Serrato gives to DeFranza between the rings. DeFranza handoff to Fraterigo, and she drives to the free throw line. Now centers it back out top. Serrato. Olszewski gets it, between the circles. And now she's got to drive left, cut off, pass to the left corner. And good defense now as Lexi Beauregard's Anna O'Connor, first off the bench for the Panthers tonight. Serrato gets it. Serrato drives, stops at the free throw line. Kick out 3 on the way. Wouldn't go from O'Connor. Rebound is put back by Olszewski.
That's a great defensive possession by the Irish. And, whoa, they go right ahead, and nice basket there by Caitlin Cassidy. They go right off the inbound and score and get back their own 2.
Cassidy got back like a wide receiver running a route, got back in time to lay it in. 14-5 now with 3:05 to play in the first, and a foul on P&D as Regina Dominican tried to drive it up the floor. Notre Dame will bring in 2 subs here at the dead ball, which should take us to our media timeout. It'll be Allie Stickelmeyer and Bridget Dooley first off the bench for P&D when we come back after the media timeout. And, of course, we'll keep it right here with 3:05 left in the first quarter, and P&D leading by 9. Michael, how do you size up these first 5 minutes? Peoria Notre Dame has definitely controlled the game so far, but the Panthers not letting them get too far out in front yet.
Yeah, in Notre Dame, they've pretty much been playing their style of game that they've been playing not only in the playoffs but for the whole season, and credit them, it's been working out for them. They have the 32-4 record for a reason. And like you said, Joey, Virginia Dominican not letting them get out of heads too much, but it's also not a great start from them either. We've already talked about the advantages that Notre Dame has compared to Virginia Dominican, and also if you're Regina Dominican, you're going to be down on those advantages. It's about doing the small stuff right. Do not commit fouls that you don't need to commit. You don't need to do that. And when you're at the line, you have to have your free throws. And of course, if you're a smaller team playing against a taller team, a bigger team like Notre Dame is to Regina Dominican, these Panthers need to box out. So that's some big keys for them heading into after this immediate timeout and honestly for the rest of the game.
Dominican leading the rebounding category right now 4-1. 2 each on offense and defense. But Peoria Notre Dame, with 3:05 left in this first quarter, has built a 9-point lead at the media timeout. Credit Julia Mingus's game-high 5 points. A 3 and a 2 as a big part of that run. Caitlin Cassidy has 3 points as well, a field goal and a free throw. Maya Wardle's got 3 points, that 3 in the corner. Ditto for Lexi Bear, leading all scorers for Dominican with just 3 points is Peyton Olszewski with a field goal and a free throw. Serrato has 2 points as well. Out of the timeout, let's see. Regina Dominican has the ball right in front of us. Jillian DeFranza will inbound. We're right across from the Panthers bench. And she inbounds, finds Olszewski, and we're back underway here at SEFCU Arena, IHSA Class 2A State Semi. And quickly, the Irish bring a press. Panthers in trouble, and they've got to call timeout. They were nearing a 10-second call there, Michael. P&D brought a smothering defense, and the Panthers had no answer.
Now it's in a weird situation for Regina Dominican because now that time doesn't reset. So what do you think they have, like 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds to cross half court?
Can't be more.
So yeah, now P&D, they know what they got to do. They just got to keep trapping. And Regina Dominican, for right now, let's see what Coach Newton draws in their lineup. But let's see what he draws up and see if they can get across half court. And like I said before, P&D is just playing their game, and they've been very successful doing it. Obviously, given that they're in this situation.
Both these teams relatively young. Neither has been on the state stage before. In fact, Peoria Notre Dame head coach Lane Langholz's been doing this a long time, 20 years, first 14 at Canton. But for all of his 136 wins at Peoria Notre Dame, this is the Irish's first regional championship during his tenure. In fact, it's his first regional championship to date. Never won one at Canton. Panthers are able to get it across the timeline. Here we go, 2:45 for the first quarter. In trouble is O'Connor, and O'Connor on the left wing is able to find DeFranza. DeFranza backs her defender down to the left block, but she is blocked by Emmy Wardle. Wardle brings it ahead. Wardle finds Maya Wardle. She stops at the free throw line. Kick to Mingus, left corner three, just off, clanks off the iron. Emmy Wardle a rebound. Kicks it out. Allie Stickelmeyer gets it. They go out top to Maya Wardle. She can't knock in the three. Mingus gets the rebound on the left wing, and Maya Wardle will bring it out. Now between the circles, and she'll slow it down out top. Pass on the left wing to Stickelmeyer. Stickelmeyer all the way across the court to Mingus. Mingus to Wardle, top of the arc. Wardle down low was looking for Bridget Dooley on the right block, and Dooley can't handle the pass. Or was it tipped? It was tipped, and Notre Dame will maintain possession under the Panther basket.
Yeah, the Panthers need to box out. That's 2 offensive rebounds for the Irish, and that's just not what they need. They have no advantage really in this game compared to Notre Dame, so they got to do the small stuff right.
On the inbound, a foul called there. Cassidy caught an elbow, and that will be on the half, or on the quarter, pardon me, the third foul on Regina Dominican. 5 fouls in a quarter, you're in the double bonus. Notre Dame getting there. Here's Wardle out top. Centers it up, shades left, drives center of the paint, floater won't fall, rebound will be brought in by the Panthers. Regina Dominican, Abby O'Connor hauls it in, and she travels before she could address the timeline.
Yeah, that's what the P&D defense does to you. They start to fluster you, and you start to think that, every time you're in your side of the half court that you might be trapped, and it sometimes makes you think that you got to go before you get trapped, and sometimes you think before you dribble, and that's just what happened there.
Notre Dame leading by 9 points with 1:35 left in the quarter. 8 of those points, or 8 points overall, I suppose, have come off turnovers. 6 of them so far for Regina Dominican. As Notre Dame on the inbound, a kicked ball violation. And they will inbound now under the basket on the left block. They get it into Dooley. Dooley out top to Stickelmeyer. Stickelmeyer passes opposite wing to Mingus. Mingus shovels to Maya Wardle in the left corner. Now Mingus to Caitlin Cassidy between the rings. They go down right corner, and a three left short by Stickelmeyer. And now the Panthers cross the timeline with 1:09 left and this 9-point deficit.
Be really big here for the Panthers to get a good offensive possession here and end it with the basket.
There's Abby O'Connor, handoff out top to Maddie Witchker. Witchker down to the left wing, and Judy Fabianski fresh into the game. She misses a three. Foul on the rebounds on the Panthers. Their 4th foul of the quarter.
Yeah, that was a good box out there by Mingus. She had boxed out her defender and caused her defender to reach over the back of her, and that's a textbook over the back foul. So great job boxing out by the Irish. And you would think that, I'm not going to say they don't need the box out, but it's really on Regina Dominican's part that they need to box out in order to really have a chance in this game.
50 seconds left for the quarter. 14-5 is the score. Notre Dame leads. They find Maya Wardle at the free throw line. High-low to Cassidy. Cassidy can't convert. Panther rebound. They go ahead. Here's Serrato slowing it down now at the big Redbird logo at midcourt. She'll dribble left. She'll hand it off, looking for Fabianski. She turns it over. Wardle in transition. Maya Wardle on a fast break. Left-handed layup is good. Right-handed layup, that was, and a 16-5. Lead for PND with 20 seconds left in the first. And the Panthers quickly on a drive and a block there. Trying to go coast to coast was Olszewski. And she was cut off in a big way down underneath the basket. Sub for PND on the dead ball. Out comes Emmy Wardle, and in her place is Cora Hines. Hines' 33rd game she's seen this season. 10 seconds left. Dominican ball. 8 seconds left now. Left wing is Olszewski, and she will dribble right, but we've got a quick injury for an injured player.
Yeah, she was on the floor for a hot second, and yeah, might have a nosebleed.
Yeah, it looks like that. Maddie Witchker up under her own power, but took an elbow to the face, it looked like, the nose area. And a little bit of a nosebleed, so we'll get that cleaned up and hope that she can return. It stops the clock with 4 seconds left in the first quarter in this 16-5 ball game. Dominican will have the ball out of the timeout, and they'll inbound in their offensive zone. So, Michael, a good chance to draw up a sideline out-of-bounds play here and maybe cut this thing back under 10 points.
Yeah, 3:09 left. You might think that that's not much of time to really get anything off, but in basketball, I mean, that's maybe one or two dribbles, and you can get a sizable jumper up, a really good jump shot up. So you never know. And for Regina Dominican with this deficit, they're trailing by 11 right now. And you know, if they make a shot, then they cut the lead to single digits. So it'd be a really good opportunity for them to do that.
Glad you're with us on ClutchSportsIL.com this afternoon. First game of the Class 2A State Finals. Good one coming up next. We won't have that one, but Nashville and Robinson should be a dandy of a matchup. Winner of this game, winner of that game will play on Saturday for a state title. Losers will see each other tonight for third place. And as they extend this to a full timeout here, we've still got 3.9 seconds left in the first quarter. They show a replay on the scoreboard. That didn't show much of the injury, but it did show the last whistle. IHSA does a great job of putting on a show here at CEFCU Arena and next week at State Farm Center for the Boys State Finals.
It's always a great time in the state finals, and IHSA always puts on a great event. It's always great teams, and like they say, Joey, it's the original March Madness, the state of Illinois.
It's going to be a lot of fun as we pause here. Again, we had a bloody nose timeout if you're just joining us, so they will get that sanitized and cleaned up on the floor. Notre Dame, as you see on the bottom of your screen, leading 16-9, and they have controlled the first quarter in its entirety here. Jumped out to an early lead was Lexi Bear, knocked down a three that opened the scoring. And Notre Dame 6 of 13 from the field, 3 of 7 from deep. Regina Dominican just has not been able to get off as many shots, 2 of 7 from the field, 0 of 2 from deep. And what's really hurting the Panthers so far, Michael, is turnovers. 8 of Notre Dame's points have come off turnovers. Panthers have turned it over 6 times in the opening quarter. I want to amend that. It's actually 10 points that have come off turnovers. That's just not any way to win a game, especially a game of this caliber.
Yeah, and that's what Notre Dame does to you. They play their style of defense, and when you go into their style of defense and you falter to them, then that's what happens. Not every defense can be as aggressive, especially in girls basketball, as Notre Dame's defense is. And they feed off those turnovers. They feast off of them. They get the turnovers. They go right to the basket. They go coast for coast. Transition offense is their game. And like you said, Joy, I'm not surprised to see them have 10 points off of turnovers. And you take away those turnovers, it's a 1-point game. But right now, in Regina Dominican's case, they've had a hard time all game so far beating that PND press. And once they do, they're already flustered enough. They had to get into the offensive set, and PND's defense is relentless. It's not going to stop. So they just had trouble all game so far against that defense.
That press you mentioned, Michael, forced the Panthers to take a timeout not too long ago when they run into trouble trying to inbound the ball and get it across half court. We're ready to go now with just a tick under 4 seconds left in the first quarter. Let's see if Regina Dominican can draw something up. It'll be Abby O'Connor inbounding just to our right of the PND bench near midcourt. Pump fakes an inbound pass. Bounce pass goes in. Here's Serrato, tries to drive, loses it. And Notre Dame will have 0.5 of a second, half a second left here to hoist up a prayer to end the first quarter.
It's going to take one heck of a shot to even try to get it close to the basket. I got to say, unless the inbounder, Caitlin Cassidy, can throw like a football pass 94 feet away to the basket. Let's see.
They get it in to Maya Wardle, and she thought better of a shot attempt. Would have been from the opposite free throw line. And that takes us to the end of the first quarter. It is 16-5 with Peoria Notre Dame leading, now 24 minutes away from the program's first ever trip to an IHSA state championship game. And Regina Dominican looking for that same feat. They'll have some work to do here as they try to erase a double-digit deficit. Leading scorers after the first quarter, Julia Mingus and Maya Wardle, 5 points apiece for PND. And Olszewski still the leading scorer for Regina Dominican. No update there, pardon me, from the last time we mentioned that. She's got 3 points.
Yeah, for Regina Dominican, we've already talked about their community of scoring. They work together as a team, and they gotta do more of that to have more of a chance in this game. It can't be a one-on-one play. Right now, they're not playing as what Coach Nguyen said in the calls before the other day. They played more of a style of like community scoring of using all 5 players on the court to score, and they're not doing that right now, and that's part of the reason why they're down by so much. And another reason is that PND's playing their style of game and they're feeding into PND's style of game. So they just gotta defeat that press first of all, and they've had trouble doing that. So a big key in the second quarter is to play their game. Not play their game, but just defeat the PND press and defeat that defense.
Great crowd on hand at Sefco Arena, home of the Illinois State Redbirds men's and women's basketball teams. Regina Dominican student section, as we mentioned, directly across from us behind the Panther bench. Notre Dame student section's behind us on our left, across from PND's bench. Good crowd here in the lower bowl at Sefco Arena. Red seats in the lower and upper levels. Big Redbird logo at midcourt. Always a great host for the IHSA girls basketball state finals.
It's in a great location too. It's not so far up in the Chicago area that teams from like the southwestern region can't get to it, like Nashville, for example. And it's not too far south and west to where teams from Chicago can't necessarily make that trip as easily as they could. It's right in the middle, and that's what makes Normal a great place to host really many events, even including the state finals for football.
That's right, and we'll see to some extent that next week as well in Champaign. Just about a 45-minute to an hour drive down Interstate 74. It'll host the boys basketball state finals in a week's time. Not to get too far into it, Michael, as we get ready to start the second quarter here, but who do you see from our area making a run? Metamora's still alive. You look at Richwood's still going. Illini Bluffs on the boys' side still alive.
I don't like to be the same as most people around the area. A lot of people will say Metamora, and rightfully so, but I believe Richwoods, if they beat Metamora on Friday, then they have a real legit chance to make a run to the state in the Class 3A.
They play tomorrow. It'll be fun to watch. Notre Dame on the first inbound pass of the second quarter. They go down to Caitlin Cassidy on the right block, and she is fouled 10 seconds into the frame. So we'll see Notre Dame inbound to our right under the basket. And it'll be Maya Wardle to trigger this possession. Wardle gets it into Caitlin Cassidy on the right wing. Cassidy finds Wardle cutting to the basket from the right baseline. Can't get that to go. Second chance won't go for Lexi Bear, and it's knocked out of bounds. Notre Dame will maintain possession. Emmy Wardle will inbound from directly underneath the basket. And guarding the inbound pass for the Panthers, Judy Fabianski. They get it into Maya Wardle in the right block. Wardle kick out. Top three falls and extends the Peoria Notre Dame lead to 14 points. That's Lexi Bear, her second three of the contest.
Yeah, Lexi Bear, you would think in this situation, Virginia Dominican not being as sizable as Notre Dame, she might make her living down low, but she's actually been quite the shooter from beyond the arc.
Serrato on a drive for the Panthers, gives it up, pass across the paint, and finds for Tarago. Gets that one to go. Drops in a 3, and Notre Dame quickly on the other end. They shovel ahead to Caitlin Cassidy. Cassidy off the right block. Defense caught up with her, forced a miss. 12-point game, 7 minutes to play in the half. And we'll see if the Panthers can build on what is right now, couldn't even call it a run, just a 2-0 advantage. An errant pass to Bridget Conway, and Conway can't catch up with it, Michael. They throw it out of bounds near the timeline.
Yeah, they're doing it to themselves on offense. I mean, some of the mistakes they've been making on offense aren't really due to PND's defense, much so just their passing. And right now, if you're Regina Dominican, I mean, you got to take every offensive possession and treat it well.
Wardle dribbles across the stripe, finds a cutting Emmy Wardle. Wardle can't finish at the rim. Dribbling ahead now are the Panthers, and they find Peyton Olszewski. Olszewski, a nice find down low. And that was Olszewski taking it herself, pardon me. She'll draw contact and get to the line for 2 free throws. Could make it a 10-point game with 6:27 left.
Yeah, a smaller team like Regina Dominican, like I said, they got to do the smaller things right, and part of that is free throw shooting. They got to be superb from the free throw line, and they got to be able to box out and do all the other things too that makes small teams better than bigger teams.
Both teams have been at the line once and are 1 of 2 apiece. Make that 1 of 3 now for Regina Dominican, as Olszewski can't connect on the first free throw. Olszewski for the season, 42 of 73 from the stripe entering tonight, and 1 of 2 captains for the Panthers, along with Maddie Witchker, both seniors. Second free throw won't go, still a 12-point game. 6:20 for the half. Mingus running point now for the Irish, takes it across the stripe. Dribbling left to right, now finds Emmy Wardle, top of the key. Maya Wardle free throw line, down low to Cassidy, cuts to the basket and lays it in. 21-7. PND over Dominican now with 6:05 to play.
Yeah, PND is playing their style of game, and right now their defense is fitting off their offense and vice versa. They've been all around superb so far.
Lead grows back to 14, cutting to the basket for Tarago, and she has it blocked as she tried to hoist up something under the basket. It'll stay with the Panthers. Allie Stickelmeyer, comes in for the Irish. And DeFranza back in for the Panthers. They get it in. Right elbow. And for Tarago, unable to catch up with it.
I think they're going to call that a foul.
Yeah, she was. I didn't phrase that well. She caught up with it, but at the same time as a Notre Dame defender. And that'll be the first foul of the quarter against PND.
Yeah, I mean, those fouls, when those fouls are committed, it's kind of weird because you would think that, 2 players going for the ball, it's just hard work, but sometimes you can get a little handsy.
Baseline drive on the inbound, and an underhanded layup won't fall off the hands of Serrato. Panthers get the rebound. Second chance won't go. Rebound cleared now by the Irish, and Lexi Bear. And Bear finds Mingus. Mingus finds Wardle at the free throw line. Wardle finds Mingus again in the left corner. They play catch. Now Emmy Wardle gets it at the free throw line. Right-handed drive, right block, and a foul. 2 free throws coming up for the freshman, with 5:18 left in the half.
Yeah, PND driving into the lane, causing problems for the Regina Dominican team. And right now, Regina Dominican, they don't want to commit fouls because, like we said before, they just don't have much of an advantage when it comes to the aspects of basketball in this game.
First free throw on the way falls for Emmy Wardle. Wardle averaging just a tick under 9 points per game this season. It's her first point this afternoon. Make that 2 as the second falls. And Notre Dame extends its lead to 16 points with 5:18 left in this second quarter.
You see how tough it is for them to make passes like that and throwing it over the top like beach ball passes? It's hard. And this PND defense, it's been stout all day.
Notre Dame trapping, and it's working, although the Panthers are able to clear it across the timeline. They find DeFranza, top of the ring. And she goes over to the left wing now, find a Conway. Conway passing to Olszewski. She will drive to the right block, has to pick up her dribble and give it up. Finds DeFranza, top of the key. Now DeFranza tries to split the left wing and turns it over. Errant pass intercepted by the Irish. Here they go. Emmy Wardle, almost an and one, a block and 2 free throws. So Wardle On back-to-back possessions, we'll get to the free throw line. And the Irish looking to build on a 16-point lead with 4:41 now showing in the half at CEFCU Arena.
Man, you've seen it all day from this Panthers team, how tough it has been for them to really get anything going on the offensive end. And when they're on defense, I mean, they're just getting relentlessly driven at it. And it's been causing fouls for them. So right now, I mean, it's just been tough all night for Regina Dominican.
Emmy Wardle missed that first free throw, her first miss at the line this afternoon. Second misses as well, so 0 of 2 that time for the younger Wardle sister, the freshman. And the rebound, Serrato trying to go coast to coast. Put it up with her right hand, couldn't get that to go. DeFranza, the putback, won't go either, too strong. Corralled in the left block by the Irish. And now they run in transition. Maya Wardle cuts to the basket, floats one up from about 6 feet out. That won't go. And the rebound cleared by the Panthers. Clad in their white home uniforms with blue trim down the sides. Serrato slows it down, crosses the timeline, now goes to the top of the key and for Tarago. And now Olszewski is found on the right wing, guarded by Maya Wardle. She gives her about 3 steps. And now Serrato attacks, has to give it up. Left wing drive, switching hands, leaving it short is Serrato. And the Irish get that rebound. Maya Wardle feeds ahead to Emmy Wardle from the free throw line. She goes down now to Stickelmeyer. Kick out to Maya Wardle. She misses that 3, and the rebound cleared by the Panthers. Up across the timeline goes Serrato. We've seen her possess the ball a lot these last few possessions. 3:35 for the half. Panthers need a bucket here, trailing by 16. Instead, they turn it over. Here's Minkus now attacking in transition. One-on-one off the right block. Puts it up and in. 25-7 is PND's lead with 3:20 showing in the half.
It just can't happen, and that's just another turnover that turns into a transition offensive bucket. That just cannot happen if you're the Panthers of Regina Dominican.
Dominican needs a basket here. Don't want to let that deficit swell to 20. Switching hands for Tarago on the right elbow. Pass behind her. Here's Serrato. Serrato behind to Olszewski. And now finds DeFranza. DeFranza, top of the key, and travels. As she was looking for a floater that fell, she was trying to take a step or two in from the three-point line right at the top and couldn't get that pivot foot down. That'll take us to the media timeout with 2:53 left in the half. Not what the Panthers needed there, Michael.
Yeah, and they haven't really had good shots, all night long, but, the one shot that does end up falling doesn't even count. So, it's been that kind of game so far for Regina Dominican where it feels like, in a way, they're outmatched in almost all the facets of the game. But right now, the game's far from over. We're not saying that they don't have a chance of winning, but from the way they're playing right now and the way that the advantages have gone to PND and the way that PND has been playing themselves, it looks like it's heading, that kind of way for the Irish to where they blow out their opponent. But you never know, and, it's early in this game. We're not even at halftime yet, so we'll see how the rest of this game plays out.
Irish are on a 6-0 run in the last 3 minutes and 19 seconds. We've got 2:53 left in the half. You see the score on the bottom of your screen, 25-7. Regina has not scored in the last 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and they've missed their last 6 field goals. So not a good second quarter for the Panthers, who on the game are just 3 of 14 from the field.
Yeah, and a lot of those looks for Regina Dominican aren't necessarily even the looks that they'd want. You got to credit PND's defense. They've been relentless, and they don't ever stop. And they allow, when it comes to the shooting of Regina Dominican, they're not really getting good looks. And when they do get good looks, they're not necessarily falling for them either. So I think this media timeout actually will probably serve well for Regina Dominican. I think Coach Noon will probably just tell his players, hey, just calm down. We're in this game. We're losing by 18 points so far, and it looks like the game might be a little bit out of reach. But you know what? The game's far from over. We're not in halftime yet, so we'll see how the rest of this game plays out. Like I said, Joey.
Exactly, Michael. And you look at the Panthers again. Can't take anything away from their run to the state tournament here. And Bob Newton was optimistic that the Panthers might be a year ahead of schedule, too. It's a young Panthers roster getting some great experience here in the state tournament. This game's still far from over. So we'll see if they can't find a basket and turn things around. But they'll need to stop first as the Irish bring it ahead now. 2:45 left in the second quarter, and they have an 18-point lead. They go out to Lexi Bear. Left wing 3 would have been good from the college line. And it's a 28-7 lead now for PND over Regina Dominican. 2.5 to play until halftime. Let's see now what the Panthers can do to respond. They go down low and a contested shot from Fraterigo. And Notre Dame will.
Yeah, I think that was just a plain air ball from Regina Dominican.
It was contested but not tipped.
Yeah, that's not the offensive possession Regina Dominican wanted out of their immediate timeout, that's for sure, especially when PND answered right off the bat with the three-pointer.
Cora Hines into the game for PND. Now the Panthers, or pardon me, the Irish working along the perimeter. Here's Cassidy. Cassidy right wing, shuffles over and finds Maya Wardle in the left wing. Now they go down to the left baseline. And Stickelmeyer trying a turnaround jumper that wouldn't fall. And the Panthers will force a turnover off that miss. Pardon me, that was Dooley on the miss, not Stickelmeyer. But it goes out of bounds and gives the Panthers a chance to inbound. Minute 55 left in the half, and a drive from Serrato. Serrato finds an open teammate for Terrigo on the left block.
It's a great basket there by Regina Dominican. Not a great press there from PND. That's a rarity to say, and they did not trap, when they needed to be trapped. They split the double team pretty easily, and they got to the basket. Nice dump off there for the easy basket.
Wardle high-low. Connects with Cora Hines, and that'll send Cora Hines to the line. Got it on the right block, went up, and was fouled. 28-9 is the deficit. Minute 33 left. They show a replay on the scoreboard of that last basket from Fraterigo, who averages just over 7 points per game. Now has 4 on the afternoon. But Cora Hines, who has attempted just 21 free throws on the season, makes her first. And the second just as well. So Cora Hines. Hines has played most of Peoria Notre Dame's games this season, Michael, off the bench in a good role capacity. 31 field goals on the season, averages just over 2 points per game.
Yeah, this Notre Dame team is pretty deep, and they have a lot of players, 8 or 9 of them, I would have to say, that can play pretty well.
Panthers on the inbound. They were trying to find Anna O'Connor, who's been the Panthers' biggest bench contributor in this one. Irish tip it out of bounds. It'll stay home with the Panthers. Inbounding off to our left. On the other side of the timeline, just in front of the timeline. And they get it in. Here's Serrato, drives right, has to give it up. I think that was stripped loose, but the Panthers get it back. Grace Burns into the game. And Burns sends it back to Olszewski. Now a minute 10 left in the half. At the free throw line, and a pass out to the right wing. And for Terrigo, she drives, is blocked. And Caitlin Cassidy brings in the rebound. Irish run ahead. Irish down to Dooley. Dooley finds Maya Wardle, who stops about 6 feet out. Can't get it on the right of the painted area. And off the miss, here go the Panthers on the rebound. Olszewski runs point here, dribbles to the right corner, brings it out, now high right wing in front of the PND bench. PND coach Lane Langhoff looks on in his green blazer, blue slacks, PND colors. For Terrigo on the left wing, drives right block, that doesn't go, right arm extended. And with 30 seconds left in the half, here are the Irish. Here's Cassidy for 3, Bear knocks it in from deep, hit 2 on the left wing earlier, knocks that one from the right side.
She's been on fire from 3, Joey. I got to say, either she's perfect from 3 or maybe she's missed 1 or 2, but nonetheless, she's been shooting it. 4 for 5, so she's missed 1.
4 for 5 now for Bear. 33-9 is the score. Panthers on the other end, miss down low. Here's Wardle, crosses the timeline with 3, stops on the right wing, 2, cutting is Cassidy at the horn. And a right-handed floater won't fall as she drove toward the baseline, and that ends the first half. Notre Dame doesn't allow Regina Dominican to post double digits in the first 16 minutes. They lead 33-9 and are 16 minutes away from the first state championship game appearance in program history. We'll have 12 minutes for halftime, and we'll keep it right here, and as will Regina Dominican. Looks like they're going to keep things on the bench for now. They've yet to go to the locker room.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if that's what they do normally, but I do know if I'm a coach and I'm not necessarily pleased. Oh, I think they are going to leave. They are going to leave back to their locker room, but I do know that coaches, when they're not necessarily happiest. You know, they sometimes will keep things on the bench and talk to the players on the bench, and we both thought that's probably what's going to happen there, but it looks like they're going to go back.
They will, after a short delay, head to the locker room. Coaches will stay out and talk. They walk right behind Lane Langhoff in his green blazer, blue tie.
That's a great combo there.
Sharp-looking combination.
It's a P&D color combination. Looks like he just walked off the 18th in the Masters. Looks like he's got his green blazer on, and I don't know how good of a golfer he is, but it looks nice, looks sharp.
12 minutes for halftime, and that clock does not stop until after the IHSA TV interview. That's why Lane Langholm's still standing on the bench himself. So we'll have a little bit for halftime here. And an interesting point, Michael. Again, we at Clutch Sports Media watch, frankly, a lot more P&D games than Regina Dominican games, right? That's the team we're more familiar with.
Yep.
And I'd be interested to follow up on whether the Panthers coaches stay on the court this long usually, and it's not uncommon to see coaches hang out outside the locker room, draw up a game plan and let the players kind of discuss amongst themselves at first.
Maybe Coach Noon just wants everyone in the stands to see his pants.
Yeah.
maybe just wants to show it off a little bit more than maybe he's accustomed to in Wilmette. But right now, I mean, we talk about this game and how it's went, and Regina Dominican. I mean, we kind of knew going in that, P&D is this powerhouse of a team in Class 2A especially, and we kind of knew what they were capable of. But, man, if I'm Regina Dominican in the locker room, I just need to tell my guys and my players just to calm down. Don't get ahead of yourself here. There's just still a game. We're down by so much. We get that, but it's still a game. This is the state finals. Leave it all on the line.
We've seen big comebacks at CEFCU Arena before in the state finals. But,
definitely.
So not over in this 24-point game, but that's not to take away anything from Peoria Notre Dame either. The Irish have stormed out of the gates and taken this commanding lead for a reason. Lexi Bear, a big part of that. 12 points on 4 threes. She's missed just 1 attempt from deep and only missed 2 field goals. All of her makes have come from downtown, of course. Missed 2 earlier, but she's been on fire tonight. 12 points, 2 rebounds, 5 rebounds, and 5 points for Caitlin Cassidy. Julia Mingus has 7 points against a rebound. Maya Wardle, as much as she's had the ball, just 5 points for her. We would expect her to heat up if she's on the floor for big minutes in the second half. And Emmy Wardle, a freshman, 2 of 4 at the free throw line to the tune of a 2-point effort so far. And Michael, you've talked a lot about this P&D bench, how deep they are. We've also seen Bridget Dooley and Allie Stickelmeyer attempt field goals in this one. All told, the Irish go, 8 players deep in this one so far, and all have been on the floor for meaningful minutes.
Yeah, and all these P&D players, and we talk about how deep they are, they all do something different. They all do something to really help their team win. Not every team can say that, especially in Class 2A, where there's smaller schools, and not every school you even see in the state finals can say that they run 8, 9, 10 players deep. A lot of schools, especially in the smaller classes, will probably have, their starting 5, they get here for a reason. They have a really solid starting 5. Then they have 1 or 2 bench players on their team that add some value to their team. But P&D is a lot different. They have a lot of depth on this team, and it should be excited to see how, this game unfolds, because like I've said before about P&D, they blow out a lot of teams out early on, so when it comes to the fourth quarter, they can let their bench players play and get that valuable experience. And I think that's part of the reason why they're so deep, is because a lot of those players that don't get the start, they get to play no matter what in the fourth quarter anyway for a lot of those games, because P&D is just that dominant.
You mentioned the dominance of Peoria Notre Dame. They come in riding a 10-game win streak. Obviously haven't lost their last 5 games, those being playoff contests. But before that, I mean, they just mowed through the Big 12 Conference this season. Their last regular season games were an 87-43 win over Manual, an 81-22 win over Champaign Central, a 58-33 win over Richwoods. They went out of conference and took it to Paris pretty good, 71-47 back on January 27th. 86-14 win over Urbana, on the 25th of January. Their last loss came 5 days prior to that, a 63-52 loss to Lincoln at Renaissance Coliseum, a really good Lincoln team that we'll see later tonight here at the IHSA State Finals. Could well win a 3A title. Not a bad loss there, and they beat a good Peoria team too, 50-28 on January 18th. So a 10-game winning streak. They've won 11 of their last 12. Not a lot of these games have been close. None of the wins have been close. The loss was close. Lincoln pulled away in the waning minutes there.
Yeah, Lincoln, we were surprised that game, went in P&D's favor because we know how much bigger Lincoln is. We know the firepower that Chloe Frobe and those Railers have, but they ended up not pulling that one away. Lincoln ended up coming back and winning that, like you said, Joey. But then they've pretty much been on the gas pedal ever since, and they have not lost since that day. I mean, that was a little bit ago that they played in Renaissance Coliseum, so they've just been dominant throughout the end of the regular season that they had, and they've obviously been dominant in the postseason. That's the reason why they're here.
It'll be a good one looking at the IHSA State Finals. A lot of good games still to be contested. Pardon me, Lincoln plays tomorrow morning, of course, at 11:15. They won't play tonight. They'll play Montini, Glenwood, and Hinsdale South, the first 3A matchup tomorrow. While Bonzi Valley and Nazareth and Loyola and Fremd, the 4A matchups. It'll be Altamont versus St. Bede later for the 1A consolation game, and then the loser of this game in Nashville and Robinson. Those losers will face later tonight for a third-place title among the Class 2A field. So a lot of good games here at CEFCU Arena. A lot of good games to come on ClutchSportsIL.com over the next couple of days, too. IHSA boys basketball still going on. We've got a number of area teams left in that race. So stay tuned for our coverage plans tomorrow as sectional titles are decided across the state. Jonathan Michael is just to the left of Michael Savoy, hard at work writing a story that'll run on ClutchSportsIL.com after this one goes final.
Be sure to look out for that one. It's another Jonathan Michael masterclass. we like to say, a great writer he is.
Absolutely. John Michael knows what he's doing. I've got a story on ClutchSportsIL.com too on Illini Bluffs. Big win in overtime. Maybe the game of the tournament.
It very well could be. That was a really good game, and that went down to the final minutes. We thought that Illini Bluffs maybe couldn't pull it out. They looked for a while that they probably couldn't, and they ended up coming back, forcing overtime, and that game ended up being in their favor. Just a really good game, and that's what the semifinal is all about, getting two really good teams, maybe not the top two teams in Class 1A or whatever class you're in, but then they play each other, but then they come down to the wire, and it comes down to whoever wants it the most. And it's hard to believe that Altamont, how talented they are, that they're out of state championship contention, but I bet they'll just be as ready as they were this morning for the third place game later tonight.
That they will be. Grace Nelson will play later tonight for Altamont for third place. Illinois State signee. Going to join a good Redbirds program that went to the NCAA tournament just 2 years ago. Of course, Maya Wardle, who's playing right now, the Eastern Kentucky signee. Looking forward to seeing what she can do for the Colonels next season. And Peoria Notre Dame, by the time it's all said and done, could have a lot of Division I players on this roster, Michael. We got a comment in our live chat from David Williams there. You see, Peoria Notre Dame has four D1 players, in his opinion. I don't think he's too far off. No,
and we already know that there's one going to Eastern Kentucky, and Maya Wardle, her sister, in my opinion, might be better than her. I mean, that's not too far off, and some people can say that Maya's better than Emmy. I mean, it's not too far off. Emmy is a great player, and she obviously has come up big for this Irish team in the playoffs, so she's definitely Division I talent. Lexi Bear hit 4 big three-pointers in the first half. She's got at least 12 of her points 12 of her points have come from the three-point shot. So she has a really good shot, and she's been a pest on the defensive end. So she can definitely be a Division I player. And then you can rattle off. You can name more than 4 Division I players on this P&D team if you really wanted to. Well, how about this about Emmy Wardle? Already about 2 inches taller than her older sister. As a freshman, Maya set to graduate here in a few months. I bet those are pretty good driveway games if they get at it and go there. And another thing, too, with the Wardle sisters, this has got to be as happy as they've ever been to be at CEFCU Arena. Of course, their dad, Brian, the head men's basketball coach at Bradley University. Always that rivalry atmosphere in the air, right, when Bradley and Illinois State get together. But here they're on the floor competing for themselves. And
they can focus on going out and getting the job done on the floor for themselves.
Yeah, a lot of those Bradley ISU games as of late have gone in Bradley's favor, so they're happy in that regard, but nothing really beats getting to play on this court for an opportunity to go to a state championship game, and if they do, an opportunity to win the state championship game, and nothing beats that. So I gotta agree with you, Joey. This is probably the happiest they've been playing on this floor, being in this gym.
It's a great atmosphere here. The IHSA does a great job of making all of its state series finals feel like big events. Was out at the boys wrestling individual state finals a few weeks ago for the News Gazette, and that was a great time. We had 2 local winners from our area there, so it was a good time to watch them and chronicle their runs, and it's a great day. I wasn't able to make it on the final day of the tournament. Zach Pyatt took the reins for our coverage then, but they do the Grand March and put a lot into that. We'll see more pageantry at State Farm Center next week for the boys state finals. Of course, we had a number of Clutch Sports Media area wrestlers advance as well. It's a busy time of year for the IHSA. You go right in, you go from wrestling on an individual level to now the girls team state finals, girls individual state finals, boys team state finals, and then you go into girls basketball this week, and then boys basketball next week. So it's a busy month.
Yeah, this is the type of area of the year when IHSA, I would probably argue, is the most busy. There is also certain parts of the year that IHSA is busy, including like the football state championships and the volleyball state championships. So that happens around the same time. So it should be fun to watch obviously the rest of the girls state state finals, and then next week you go into the boys state finals, which is also always a great time. You get to see a lot of great boys teams that are playing, and a lot of area teams around Peoria are playing in that tournament, including what we've already talked about, Peoria Richwoods, Metamora, Illini Bluffs, a lot of those teams, and also Norman communities. So it's not too far off to think that the Peoria area can have a state final team for all 4 classes, which would be unbelievable. Get started for the second half here.
Michael, sorry to hang you out to dry there. Had
you're good.
Emily Bauman pop by, Bradley graduate, and now works for the IHSA. Said hello to her. She mentioned that, of course, Brian Wardle's in the house, too. Daryl Brown in the house as well.
Oh, nice.
Former Bradley men's player, now coach. She tells me, haven't spotted him.
It's not too far. It's not too out of the ordinary to spot Brian Wardle. You just have to hear an older man yelling, and you'll definitely know. You definitely know he's there. At least that's how I spotted him in high school venues. I'm not too sure about Steph Cube because it's a bigger venue, but we'll probably spot him somewhere.
He is in with the Peoria Notre Dame crowd that is numerous behind us, off to our left, over our left shoulder, or on the right side of the floor as we look out at it. Again, right across from the Regina Dominican bench. But the Wardles are in with the Peoria Notre Dame student section, and they have flooded the lower bowl of Sefq Arena with green and blue. As we get ready to go in the second half, 8 minutes on the board for the third quarter. Peoria Notre Dame, a 33-9 lead on ClutchSportsIL.com. 16 minutes away from a trip to the IHSA Class 2A state championship game. Winner of this one will await the winner of Nashville and Robinson to follow. And Regina Dominican inbounds to start the third quarter. Here we go on ClutchSportsIL.com. Here's Serrato. Dribbles left. Looking to go high-low to Fraterrago, and the pass intercepted by PND. That stifling Peoria Notre Dame defense makes an appearance early here in Q3. And now it's the Irish looking. Here's Emmy Wardle. Wardle between the circles, dribbles right, pass to the right corner, and Maya Wardle. Wardle with a nice find to Caitlin Cassidy, right block. Irish looking for an open shot. They kick it out to Julia Mingus on the left wing, and she knocks down a 3. And Notre Dame's lead is 27 points with 7:20 left in the third.
Yeah, they're not letting their foot off the gas pedal, that's for sure. They're right back to where they started with the three-point shooting, and they've been nailing their three-point shots.
If I'm Nashville or Robinson right now scouting this game, I'm starting to get very nervous about what Peoria Notre Dame has shown so far.
Yeah, because they can do it in multiple facets. They're not just a great three-point shooting team. They're just not monofaceted. They're always multifaceted. They can do a lot of things well.
Panthers get a steal here on the Notre Dame offensive end after the Irish got a rebound on a missed Panthers shot. Trying to go down low is Olszewski. She can't finish off the left block. Irish clear the rebound. Here's Emmy Wardle to the free throw line. Emmy a drive and has it blocked out of bounds.
Yeah, this is not the greatest situation for Regina Dominican. They haven't really gotten a good look. Now, granted, it's still early in the third quarter, but you got to get some points on the board sooner or later.
Pass on the right block, up and in off the inbound pass. Emmy Wardle gets back to the free throw line, has her first field goal of the night, and it's 38-9 PND with 6:34 left in the third. And that was a quick find. Maya Wardle, the inbound pass, found her sister on a cut to the basket on the right block. She put it up with contact. That foul on the part of Serrato. And Wardle can't hit the free throw. It'll stay. A 29-point lead. Panthers struggling to get it in now. They do get it in. DeFranza trying to cross midcourt. Finds Fraterrago down under the basket. She turns around and knocks it in. 38-11 with 6:10 to play here in the third frame.
That's a really tough shot there, and finally Regina Dominican in double digits.
3 on the way, and that counts for Lexi Bear. Her 5th 3 of the contest. 30 points is PND's lead with 6 minutes to play in the third. Bear has 15 points.
All of them come through the 3 ball, and she's been on fire so far from 3. And I thought, going into this game that, Regina Dominican is a little bit more undersized than PND. I thought maybe she would make her living down low on the block, but no, she's been a really good 3-point shooter so far.
3 different leaders in 3 categories for PND. Bear leads with 15 points. Caitlin Cassidy, 5 rebounds. Maya Wardle, 7 assists. Here's Regina Dominican on the inbound. Between the circles, Serrato out top, guarded by Cassidy. Bounce pass right to Olszewski on the right wing. Picked up by Emmy Wardle. She'll try to drive left, cut off at the free throw line. Pass behind her between the rings for Fraterrago on a drive. Stops about 10 feet shy of the basket, left side of the painted area. And a turnover there.
Yeah, just not.
What was the whistle there, Michael? Was that a travel?
I believe it. I think
jump
so.
ball.
It was, yeah.
Jump ball part. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, yeah, jump ball. Just not what you want if you're Regina Dominican, and we've already talked about it, Joey. They need to treat these offensive possessions like they're just going to win the game, and they got to treat it like very personally and very seriously. Because if they don't, then this is a layup there by Caitlin Cassidy. It's just not going to bode well for Regina Dominican.
As you broke it down, Cassidy cut to the basket. It happens that quick for PND. Cassidy lays that one in, and that's now 8 assists for Maya Wardle as the Irish have really gained control of this one. They lead by 32 with 4:55 left in the third, and a pass down to the corner. That won't go from Mingus, and now Cassidy gets the rebound, kick out in the right corner. She misses a 3. And Regina Dominican now crossing the timeline. Here's Olszewski. Backs Mingus down, driving right, and Olszewski gets blocked down low. How many blocks for PND? We'll get that stat in a minute. They find Mingus out ahead. Mingus on the left block lays it in, and it's 45-11. PND not letting up. This is as complete as a performance as you'll ever see in a state finals game.
Yeah, they've just been doing everything right. I mean, it's hard not to find something they haven't done right.
Maybe right there on a foul there. Maya Wardle coming in to try and close out on a 3 from Serrato.
I guess in a way that could count as an announcer's jinx.
Olszewski, pardon me, on the 3 that Maya Wardle was trying to close out on. A rare miscue. That'll give Olszewski 3 free throws here in this 45-11 ball game with 4:07 left to play in the third. And we'll see if Olszewski can cut into it a little bit here.
Yeah, with such a big lead, I mean, you can afford to be kind of, I guess you can say, reckless with the way that you can play, because it's not like a bucket can, detrimentally cut into your lead. It's just going to be 2 or 3 points. So, it's not like a foul like that's going to necessarily hurt them down the line. Or if they blow the lead, I mean, that's a different story.
Got the first to go. 45-12 now with 4:07 to play. 6 blocks for Peoria Notre Dame in this one. 3 from Lexi Bear, who has a plus-minus along with Maya Wardle of 33 And it'll remain 33 as Olszewski misses the second free throw. Plus minus can sometimes be a little misleading. It's good for what it is, but not the full story. But when you look at the plus minuses of PND's starting lineup right now, 27, 29, 33, 27, 33. Those will all go down by a point as Olszewski knocks down her final free throw there, but it's pretty good when your entire starting lineup's been good for that many points.
Yeah, that's very efficient. That's just very good in general, and not surprising to see it from this Irish team.
Floater falls for Mingus on the right block. So after the Panthers got 2 back at the free throw line, Mingus puts PND back ahead by 34. And here's Olszewski now on the right wing. And
yeah, you said about PND, Joey, about it can just happen for them so quick. And once you make a basket, if you're the opposition to PND, you really got to get back on defense because they're just going to try to answer you back with their own two-pointer or three-pointer themselves.
The Panthers look to go high-low, unable to connect with Fraterrago under the basket in the restricted area arc. If they use that for the IHSA, but they don't. But that's about where she was, but a little high. And a turnover, and PND will retake possession. Ahead by 34 points, 3:23 left in the third as we get the media timeout. And Michael, I want to say I don't think that this score is indicative so much on Regina Dominican as it is on Peoria Notre Dame. This is a young Panthers squad, 25-9 on the season, under the direction of Bob Newton, well-respected head coach. A very young team that will have a good window to get back here in seasons to come. And we talked about it at halftime. You look at who Peoria Notre Dame is playing. The Big 12 Conference, some of the teams they've gone through in a tough playoff run. A really good BCC team, maybe a better Deer Creek Mackinac team, a really good Rock Island Audubon team, and they've crushed them all, for lack of a better term. They haven't played a close game in their last 10. I think that this is a special Peoria Notre Dame team that has now started to show the state on this big stage what it's all about.
It's a special Peoria Notre Dame team with a ton of upperclassmen power along with the freshman Emmy Wardle. So they're primed for this moment. They're primed. This is their year to make some noise in the postseason, and obviously they made noise in the postseason. They're here for a reason. And they are a little bit over 11 minutes away from reaching the state championship game. It'd be, I believe, their first, if I'm not mistaken, their first state championship game. So they're primed for this moment. And like we said, Joey, about Regina Dominican being so young, they're in Coach Noon's opinion, they're here a year early. So, they're going to return a lot of their production with their sophomores next year and even the year after. So watch out for this Regina Dominican team to be right back.
Absolutely. They'll have a good opportunity next year with so many young players to get back. Natalia Serrato is a sophomore. Jillian DeFranza is a sophomore. DeFranza leading the team in scoring with about 10.5 points per game this season.
Yeah, and their tallest player, 5'10" freshman Bridget Conway, she's gotten some playing time here, and she's only a freshman, 5'10", so imagine her as an upperclassman. She can only grow, and hopefully that brings size for Regina Dominican in the future.
Absolutely. And Serrato, by the way, leading the team in rebounding with 130 rebounds entering tonight on the season. As the Irish work it down low, and a foul called. Bridget Dooley, a senior, will go to the line. Key bench presence, aggressive defender, has played decent minutes in this one, but has not scored on just one field goal attempt. And she changes that there by knocking in her first free throw. Peoria Notre Dame's got a lot of young pieces as well. It'll be a big loss to lose Maya Wardle this season, but she's the only senior in the starting lineup. Bridget Dooley will be a key departure as she misses her second free throw there, but a good bench presence all season long. Off the bench, good defender. But Julia Mingus in this starting lineup is a junior. Caitlin Cassidy, a junior as well. Lexi Bear, a sophomore. Emmy Wardle, of course, the freshman.
Yeah, they don't really lose much, even though they lose a college commit, which is always big, but they don't really lose as much as you would think.
Dooley can't quite take the lid off the basket for her first field goal there. They get it to Mingus. Mingus a drive and a score and one. Cuts through the baseline, finishes with contact. Mingus, the junior, will go to the line for one more. Leads all scorers now with 16 points.
I mean, that just speaks to how deep this PND team is, because when we think of, who could lead this game in scoring, you would probably even just think of Maya Wardle, think of Lexi Berry. We know Lexi's just 1 point off of taking the lead in scoring, but not a lot of people can think of Julia Mingus as that one player that can, but no, she can score, and she's very aggressive when she has the ball in her hands.
And if her three-point shot is on target, can really be a game changer. 66 of 167 from deep this season, entering tonight, and has added 2 tonight to take her one shy of 73 pointers on the season. 2 shy of 73 pointers on the season. 2:25 left in this third quarter. All Peoria Notre Dame so far in this one, in this 51-13 ball game.
Seeing another turnover from Regina Dominican, it's just a killer when you have those turnovers for those offensive possessions. When you're already, down in terms of some of the advantages, you just can't have that.
Abby Wardle gets the inbound for PND, now finds Maya Wardle. Wardle to the left corner, and that 3 off the mark from Stickelmeyer, the junior. And Dooley the rebound, finds Maya Wardle on the left wing. They go down low, and that won't fall for Cassidy on the putback effort. And now the Panthers will take it ahead, looking for something to go their way offensively. As I mentioned, they're here by way of a 53-40 win over Phillips in the Morton College Super Sectional. Before that, took down Crane and Latin out of Chicago, and Jillian DeFranza has a 3 from the right wing. With 1:35 left in this third quarter, DeFranza's first 3 of the game on her first attempt. And good to see a Chaco in there for the Panthers, Michael.
Yeah, that's a really, in a way, you look at the score and you might just say, how is that a big shot? But no, that's a big shot. It gives Regina Dominican hope that they can actually make baskets, because for a while I bet their mindset was, there's a lid on this basket. We can't score. And right now they've got a bucket, and hopefully they take that into, their offensive game for the rest of the third quarter going into the fourth.
And of course, Michael, you don't want to declare a game over before it is over. We've still got 95 seconds left in this third quarter. But with Peoria Notre Dame up by so much,
Peoria Notre Dame, they're just not going to stop.
No.
They're up. We'll say they're up 50. They're not going to stop. They're still going to keep their defensive pressure. So when you play a team like that and you're already down by so much, it's almost impossible to come back.
They have scored 70 or more points in 5 of their last 10 games, all wins. But my point there being, and again, we won't call it over before it's over, but drawing some conclusions, Regina Dominican's got to get ready to play tonight, in all likelihood, for third place. They'll play the loser of Nashville and Robinson. And no one likes to play in third place games. There's always that stigma around how do you bounce back and, just a few hours later, try and salvage your run to the state finals. But that being said, a good opportunity still for the Panthers to finish their season on a high note later tonight should this score hold.
Yeah, not a lot of teams are necessarily the most prepared to play a third place game, much less motivated, so as there's a drive they're missed. But there's not a lot of teams that can say they're motivated to play third place games. It just comes down to if you're motivated or not to play in those third place games.
Irish force a turnover on the Panthers' offensive end, so they'll inbound, needing to drive the length of the floor, right to left, with 1 minute and 1 second left in this third quarter. Mingus back in for Peoria Notre Dame. Dooley comes out. I want to thank our entire crew at Clutch Sports Media. Dalton Carmine just to my right. Brock Engel is on the baselines, taking pictures that you'll see on our social media channels and on ClutchSportsIL.com. 3 on the way. Another one falls for Cassidy, who has been on both ends of the floor, having a great game so far tonight. Cassidy now with 10 points, and that's her first 3.
Just many of the weapons that PND has. And really good three-point shooting team PND is. They don't always kill you with the three-point ball, but if they will, they can.
Here's Dominican, a drive left, off the glass, won't fall for DeFranza, who had that 3 a minute ago, but a putback. And Frederigo knocks that one down. And with 10 seconds left, the Panthers steal it. Driving is Serrato. Picks it up, takes a hard fall there as Maya Wardle plays defense, and Wardle will be called for the foul. That'll be an inbound for the Panthers, as that's the third foul of the half for PND, and thus the third foul of the quarter.
Yeah, let's see what Regina Dominican draws up here off the inbounds. 5.7 seconds, an eternity of time for high school basketball and just basketball in general to get a good pass in, get a good dribble or two in, get a nice screen maybe to try to free up a shot and see if you can make one.
They get it in with 5 seconds left. Out top now, DeFranza and Emmy Wardle battling for the loose ball on the IHSA State Finals logo, high right wing. That ball rolls all the way under our table. It'll be picked up by DeFranza, and just in front of us, Virginia Dominican will inbound with 1 second left on the high right wing. Let's see.
I wouldn't think a lob. I would think a nice closer pass and try to see if you can try to get a nice shot opportunity, maybe a mid-range shot.
Let's see if they listen. Here's DeFranza, high right wing, in trouble. Buzzer sounds. That's the third.
Yeah, that's not necessarily the greatest pass because you not only pass it far away from the basket, but you pretty much pass it into a trap because that trap's it's right in the quadrant of the court that teams love to trap in, and we know PND's defense, they love to trap. I mean, you're pretty much just giving them a nice steal there if there was more time or just another turnover.
That takes us to the fourth. 8 minutes to play. It's been all Irish in this one. 54-18 is our score with 8 minutes to play. 8 minutes separating Peoria Notre Dame from its first IHSA State Championship game appearance. Second time the Irish have been at the big dance. They were here back in 1994. Irish went 24-5 that season, but did not place in the Class AA state tournament. Was 8 teams back in those days.
Back in the days where there was, like you said, Joey, about Class AA and then Class A, there was only 2 classes, so it's even harder for teams to place in the state finals, but now there's only 4, so I would even think that if we were still in the same concept as a couple decades ago about the 2-class system, that PND would probably place pretty well in the state still. They're just that talented.
Michael looking over my right shoulder, right behind the basket. I see a contingent from Deer Creek Mackinac. Looks like they brought a couple of players here to watch the action.
I did see a couple of fans from Serena up by the Rockford area, that western suburb of Chicago area. Then just some nice showings from some high schools over here that you wouldn't really expect.
I saw a bus from Paxton Buckley Loda make the trip
BBL.
over here. They walked in at the same time as me this morning before the 1A action.
It's always nice to see some schools that, maybe they don't have their teams here competing, but they also like to see good basketball.
Absolutely. The Deer Creek Mackinac team behind the basket, they lost to Peoria Notre Dame in the Canton sectional final, 59-37. I mean, Peoria Notre Dame has gone through some really good teams en route to the state tournament. Sherrard in the IVC regional final. 2 good teams in Bloomington Central Catholic and Deer Creek Mackinac in the Canton sectional. It was a battle of 1 seeds when they faced Alleman at Bureau Valley in the super sectional on Monday.
A lot of good teams around the Central Illinois area that maybe people from Wilmette that are watching or people around the Chicagoland area probably wouldn't think of, but PND just the cream of the crop this year when it comes to those kind of teams that are good around Central Illinois.
Putting fans on the video board here at CEFCU Arena, home of the Illinois State Redbirds.
They just showed Dylan Langhoff on the video board.
Yep.
Nice little gesture there from IHSA and CEFCU.
Dylan Langhoff, we send our best to him. It's been an emotional season for Lane Langhoff and company as the fourth quarter gets underway. Dylan is Lane's son, who attends class at Peoria Notre Dame, classmate of these players, and battling cancer. We send our best to him, and
definitely
it's been an emotional ride for Lane Langhoff and company this season, but they've handled it well and certainly playing with a little extra motivation, and good to see Dylan with us here today. A lot of emotions on this run, Michael, as that'll be a foul call, and we'll have free throws from Peyton Olszewski. in addition to that, stunned me when I was doing some research. Of course, Lane Langhoff, we've always appreciated his support over the years. This is his first ever regional championship. He's been doing this a long time, a lot of years at Canton before he came over to Peoria Notre Dame 6 seasons ago. And in 20 years, with a lot of good Canton teams and some really good Peoria Notre Dame teams, much like Michi Edwards at Peoria, until these last few years, snake bitten for whatever reason in the playoffs, and has broken through in a big way this year with everything going on.
That's hard to believe that Lane Langhoff, with the talent he's had at Canton and the talent he's had in Peoria Notre Dame, you know, he's never been in that big stage where he's won the biggest moment, and you know that's why the best coaches are the ones that win in the postseason. Not saying that he's not a great coach, he is. So there's a three-pointer there. Oh my goodness, Lexi Bear. I mean, she's been making a living at the three-point line. I mean, it's very impressive.
Has another three, 57-20 with 7:10 to play. Peoria Notre Dame the last few seasons has played in Class 3A. So much good basketball in the Peoria area.
You talk about like Aaliyah Guinan in Peoria High, Iowa signee.
Iowa signee, of course. You look at Washington, what they've done the last few years. Morton, state powerhouse. They've been at Redbird Arena more often than not in years past. Metamora has had flashes in years past too. Richwoods, lest we forget, who for a while had more state championships than losing seasons.
Yeah, they were dominant way back then.
And still a really good Richwoods Knights team. So it's hard to win, especially in that Class 3A bracket. That would explain why the likes of great coaches in our area have, maybe that is a little misleading from a results standpoint. But the past. The point is now, this Peoria Notre Dame team, the way they've played in this one, they'd be competitive in any of the 4 classes here this week.
They'd be very competitive if there was just one class in general, if they were put it up against all the teams in Central, or not even just in Central Illinois, but the state.
As we get back underway here, here is Maya Wardle up across the timeline for PND. Glad you're with us on ClutchSportsIL.com. Wardle driving right wing stops, and a foul is called as they get it over to Allie Stickelmeyer.
Yeah, right now for Regina Dominican, it's been that kind of game for them so far where they haven't been able to get really anything going on both ends on the court, whether it's their defensive end or the offensive end, especially in the offensive end with PND's defense. And like I said about PND's defense, all the credit goes to them because they've gone here for a reason. They've had really good defense, and they're just really good in general. They have a lot of talent on their team, and from the way it looks right now, the game's not over, but it's looking more like it, and PND probably playing on Saturday.
And a 3 on the way. That won't fall for Maya Wardle. Rebound is loose, and a foul is called on PND on the rebound. Serrato brought it in. 32-3 are the Nashville Hornets. 28-5 are the Robinson Maroons. And Peoria Notre Dame is 6 minutes and 3 seconds away from drawing the winner of that Class 2A semifinal that will follow this game in front of us here at CEFCU Arena.
Should be a fun one no matter what goes on Saturday. Whoever PND gets to play, both Nashville and the other team that's playing, there's a steal there by Maya Wardle. Should be a fun one on Saturday.
That'll follow a Illini Bluff state championship game against Okawville. Floater there falls for Maya Wardle, extends it to 39 with 5:32 left and a timeout called. Illini Bluffs and Peoria Notre Dame have both clinched their first state trophy in program history. Pardon me, for Illini Bluffs, as they've finished third before, so they have a trophy to their name, but they've clinched now for Peoria Notre Dame. It will be their first trophy because they didn't place here back in the 90s when they were here for the first time. For Illini Bluffs, it will be their highest trophy yet, first or second guaranteed.
Yeah, and both teams in Central Illinois are great, and both teams have a lot of star power, especially Lily Kodiak for Illini Bluffs, so we still have a really big game. I believe 27 points, 11 rebounds, if that sounds correct. So
yep.
a double-double, so a really good game for her. And she's just one of the many talented players around the Central Illinois area.
Speaking of star power, Michael, not to get too far removed as we get ready to come out of the timeout with 5:32, but a little breaking women's basketball news that has just come out in the last 15 minutes. Caitlin Clark going to enter the WNBA draft
here
in a few weeks. So
see, with the world of NIL, I wouldn't have expected that, honestly, because she knows she can make a lot of profit in the college game with the value she is, but great for the WNBA, and I'm assuming she's probably an Indiana Fever player.
I would
going
think,
into it,
I would think so.
The worst team in the WNBA is there's a nice basket there from Regina Dominican.
That'll be an interesting team to watch, the Fever. They've got Aaliyah Boston as well. Of course, Aaliyah Guyton getting ready to maybe slide over and take some of Caitlin Clark's role on the Iowa Hawkeyes next season, the Peoria star, as she recovers from an ACL injury. Of course, that's high billing. I don't know that anyone can come in and do what Caitlin Clark has done these last few years, but we're excited to see what Guyton can do on that roster here to come, in years to come.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark, one of those players for your team that no one can replicate her. There's not going to be another Caitlin Clark. You can only aspire to be her. You can't necessarily be her. It'll be like, LeBron James when he ultimately steps down from basketball. There'll never be another LeBron James. You can only strive to be him.
That's well put, Michael. As we have 4 minutes and 37 seconds left in this fourth quarter, Peoria Notre Dame has this one well in hand, a 40-point lead, inside of 5 minutes away from a state championship game appearance. Looking forward to seeing what this next semifinal brings us, Michael. Of course, we won't have coverage of that one on our airwaves, but we will be back here on Saturday. You look at the Class 2A All-State selections. Of course, Maya Wardle, recently named to the Class 2A first team, as voted on by Illinois media members. But next we'll see Marissa Zane from Robinson. She's a second-teamer. Emma Behrman as well, a second-teamer for Nashville. Those are the All-Staters we've got to look forward to in that next matchup, and excited to see how Marissa or Emma fare against Peoria Notre Dame in all likelihood on Saturday. As there's a turnaround putback, count that one for Cora Hines off the block, and Hines will go to the line. Hines now has 4 points on the afternoon, and she'll go to the line to try and make it 5.
One of the many players on this P&D team that can play. That's all I can say.
How about this? Alex Staub helping us out. Lexi Bear has tied the IHSA Class 2A state record with 6 made three-pointers so far. The all-time record for all classes is 7, so we'll see if Bear can get one more here in the last 4 minutes. Alex Staub tweeting that out on his account.
The Twitter account.
I paused briefly there. I was wondering, do I call it Twitter? Do I call it X? Easy decision.
A lot of people like to overthink and then call it X or
nope.
or just not call it Twitter, but
not happening.
It's Twitter to most people, and I agree. It's Twitter to me. It's just Twitter. That's all it is.
Exactly. It's an easy call.
It's not. You don't feel comfortable calling Larry the Bird Larry the X. It just doesn't make sense. So you got to call it Twitter because Larry the Bird just makes too much sense.
Yep. Hopefully that mascot returns one day. As we reach the media timeout now with 3:59 left in the fourth, and Peoria Notre Dame has this one well in hand, a 64-23 lead. Glad you're hanging out with us on ClutchSportsIL.com and our YouTube channel. Fourth quarter of a Class 2A state semifinal. And again, another word for our entire crew. Dalton Carmine is here running our social medias. Brock Engel taking great pictures for him. I'm alongside Michael Savoy and Jonathan Michael. I'm Joey Wright. Jonathan writing a story that will drop here. He'll have something at the buzzer, and then we'll get some quotes for you and put that up for our Clutch Sports Media Overtime subscribers when the game goes final.
Jonathan Michael Masterclass. We gotta wait a few minutes, but it'll be a Jonathan Michael Masterclass nonetheless.
Appreciate what John's done all season, writing Run and Point on our Clutch Sports Media Overtime venture. You can subscribe at ClutchSportsIL.com/overtime. Great place for plenty of written content, standings, schedules, pictures, a lot of great stuff. Nightly roundups.
Joey, I gotta ask you. You've already asked me about who can make a run in the boys' side of things, and in the Central Illinois area. Who's your pick for the team that can make the best run in the state in Central Illinois?
It's a great question, Michael, and it's one I've had a chance to think a lot about. Of course, I work at the News-Gazette full-time. I get to see a lot of teams just outside of our area where we pick it up at the News-Gazette. That line is drawn about Leroy. St. Joseph Ogden, I like their chances of getting past Topless tomorrow in Shelbyville, Class 2A sectional final there. Arcola's got a good chance against Christ Our Rock in a Class 1A sectional final that I will be at tomorrow on Effingham, so I'll have a story in Saturday's News-Gazette on that one. But to answer your question for Clutch Sports Media area boys teams, I like Metamora, what they've done this season. I know you said earlier Richwoods, and what Lathan Somerville and that group has done this season has been fun. I think it'll be a great game tomorrow when they play in Pontiac to square a Class 3A sectional title up. But I like that Metamora team. They've got enough back from last year's state championship team, experience-wise, and some new faces as well that can make an impact. And I'll give you an unconventional answer, too, as we get back to play with 3:49 left in this one. I like Hayworth, just south of Bloomington. Nick Feather and that team has really come along lately. They will play a good Lexington team tomorrow in Danville with a Class 1A sectional championship on the line. But keep an eye out on Nick Feather and those Hayworth Hornets. Michael Mosley's done a great job.
Yeah, I think in a way you're just kind of trying to rub it into my face because they just beat St. Anne, which I'm not, I'm still kind of in a recovery phase from, in all honesty. That game was a great game, but I do agree with you, Joey, about Class 1A Hayworth. They played a really tough schedule in the TOC, and they've also played in numerous shootouts against some great teams, and overall played in a really great conference in the HOI, a really deep conference this year. So, yeah, that's a great pick. That's, in a way, a sleeper pick.
We'll see how it all plays out. Sectional Friday night is tomorrow, and we'll have you covered at clutchsportsil.com. But back to the action here. Girls basketball taking center stage tonight and on Saturday, as we'll have two area teams playing for state championships. Notre Dame is 2 minutes and 55 seconds away from joining Illini Bluffs as a state finalist, as they go down low to Cora Hines, and Hines has another and one on the left block with 2:47 to play.
Joey, I was talking to you about, how deep this Peoria Notre Dame team is, and there's a good reason why they're deep, and it's because of scores like this. The fact that it's 69-23, Lane Langhall feels comfortable putting in his reserve players, and they've been doing this for a lot of times this season, so a lot of those bench players, they get a lot of valuable minutes in the fourth quarter, a lot of more minutes than you would get on a team that, doesn't necessarily blow out as much team as Notre Dame, so that's pretty much the main reason why they go 9-10 players deep. Feel comfortable doing that.
Hines gets the free throw to go. This deep Peoria Notre Dame roster has even expanded a little bit here. Emily Bear is in the game for the first time. Abigail Chaddock is in for the first time. Not called her name tonight. Down low and an and one for Regina, and that's Natalia Serrato with a chance and a free throw to make this a three-point play. Aiden Maloney is in the game for Peoria Notre Dame as well. So those three names we've not called this afternoon.
Got to give a quick shout out to Regina Dominican student section. Still rowdy for the most part. Still got decked out in their blue shirts and whatnot. Their baby blue shirts.
And I would hope a lot of them stick around tonight for the third place game. Nashville and Robinson to follow, and we'll know soon what that matchup will yield for the championship and third place matchups. Peoria Notre Dame still playing good defense. Allie Stickelmeyer has stayed in the game. She nearly forced a turnover. A three thrown off the backboard by Sarah Iannacini for the Panthers. Irish go the other way. They go down low to Aiden Maloney, and Maloney ties it up. So that'll be a jump ball called.
Man, what makes this P&D team scary in Class 2A and scary for whoever they play in the state finals coming up on Saturday is the fact that, Joey, you told before that, P&D can just make it happen like that, just a snap of the finger. And the reserves are doing the same thing the Stars do, and that's the reason why it's so scary that this team's 9-10 players deep, because all 10 of them can play really well.
And Peoria Notre Dame getting even deeper yet. Riley Bear is in the game. We've got a timeout on the floor with 2:07 left to play in the fourth, so we'll get to see Riley on the other side of this timeout. Riley Bear's played 3 games this season for Peoria Notre Dame, but has not recorded a meaningful stat in the way of a point or rebound, an assist or anything like that. So we'll see if she can get on the scoreboard perhaps or snag a rebound.
Yeah, at this point in the game, she has plenty of time. It's just a little bit over 2 minutes left to go, 2:07 to be exact. No reason to believe that Regina Dominican, bearing something absolutely catastrophic happening to Notre Dame, that Regina Dominican would probably have a chance to win this game. So she'll have a ton of time to record that bucket.
2:07 left for the fourth quarter here at SEFCU Arena. 70-25 Peoria Notre Dame. Irish all over the Panthers from the opening tip. They won the opening tip, a 3 on the opening possession. From Lexi Bear, that was a sign of things to come. Pardon me, Michael. And they won the first quarter 16-5. They won the second quarter 17-4. They won the third quarter 21-9, and they're winning the fourth quarter 16-7.
It just the start of the game. It happened so quick. The 5-0 run that Notre Dame was on happened so quick. It was like a snap of a finger, and all of a sudden I'm talking to you, I'm looking at you, I look up, it's 5-0. It happens so quick for them. That's why they're so dominant.
Peoria Notre Dame has led. You mentioned how quick it was. They took the lead 8 seconds into the game, and they've not trailed. They've led for just under 30 minutes of action so far, as we go under 2 minutes to play, and a whistle and a foul coming, and free throws on the way for Peoria Notre Dame. And here we go, Riley Bear at the line. Could get her first points of the season if she can knock down one of these 2 free throws.
That's what all about here.
Not a bad time to do it.
Definitely not, and I've already talked to Lexi Bear about how connected their team is. When how berserk they go when they scores their first point, and there it is. A free throw.
Riley Bear, the 5'9" sophomore guard, at the line, looking for her second free throw. With 1 minute and 53 seconds left in the fourth, and she can't convert that one, but knocked down the first. So Riley
she's in
Bear
the scoring column.
has gotten into the scoring column in the 2023-24 season.
They're doing it in the state semifinals on a free throw, and it's not the biggest free throw of her life. It might be the biggest free throw of her life, actually. We don't know that, but 71-25 is not the biggest shot in the world, but nonetheless, she's in the scoring column for the season. Great for her.
Well, how about this? She's only a sophomore. A lot coming back for P&D next year. I would think she'll have an opportunity to shoot free throws that
mean a lot more.
Mean a lot more in the context of the game. So cool to see that. 71-25 is our score now. 1:15 left in this fourth quarter. Peoria Notre Dame has dominated this one from start to finish. Jem Lucero's in for Regina Dominican. She can't get a floater to go there. And now P&D looking to keep going. Here's Emily Bear. Bear over to Riley Bear. Now they go to Aiden Maloney. Maloney off balance. Runner won't go. Regina Dominican clears the rebound with 40 seconds left. Shot blocked. How about that on the defensive end? Aiden Maloney gets back, and now in transition, the Irish.
It looks like Lane Linghoff called it. Yep, he called a timeout, I believe.
Before the Irish could get out on the fast break, Langhoff calls a timeout to lock it in. How about this? Izzy Corey's getting ready to come in. She's not recorded a point this season either. Number 30 in blue will come in after the timeout. 33.5 seconds left. So P&D's got a chance to break in 2 new scorers this season at the end of what will be a comfortable Class 2A state semifinal win, to say the least.
I don't know if she'll be able to do it. I mean, 33 seconds. It feels more than likely she's not going to probably have a chance, but you never know. 33 seconds, and I'm not too sure what Lane Linkhoff wants to do. I'm sure he feels comfortable with where the score is, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just feels comfortable just holding the ball for the last 33 seconds, but who knows. Maybe he tries to break in another Irish in the scoring column for the season.
Corey is in. Also in is Shea Larson, who's also played 3 games this season. The freshman, number 35 in blue, has not recorded a point this season either. So we'll see what the Irish's game plan is as Corey and Larson come in. Quick 3 on the inbound won't go. And the rebound knocked out of bounds will stay with Regina Dominican here. That was a quick 3 for Emily Bear.
Yeah, it looks like the bench is into it. The starters are into it. Lane Linkhoff is into it. He really wanted her to score that basket, but nonetheless, I mean, they're getting out of here regardless with a massive win.
Here's a drive. Won't go on the offensive end for the Panthers. Rebound brought in by Maloney. And one more chance for the Irish here. A commanding lead and a 10 seconds on the clock is what I was getting at. That's poked loose, so the Irish will have an inbound from under the basket with 9 seconds left. Larson will trigger this possession. Gets it in, and it's tipped out of bounds. Last touch by PND. So the last possession, in all likelihood, here on Doug Collins' court, will go to Regina Dominican. 5 seconds left. Panthers dribble ahead. 3 showing, 2 showing, down to a second, and the buzzer sounds. That shot doesn't go. Doesn't matter, and Peoria Notre Dame clinches a berth in the IHSA Class 2A state championship game. A 71-25 final score, a commanding win at Sefcu Arena to start the Class 2A state finals. They'll await the winner of Nashville and Robinson.
Wow, just what a game from Notre Dame. I mean, this game was definitely not as close as the IB game that we had. That game went to overtime. That was as close as a game that you can actually have. But this one was utter domination from start to finish from Notre Dame. We're not surprised to see this from them. You know, they play their style of game, and if their opposition plays to their style of game, I mean, it's going to be really hard to come back. And PND, rightfully so. I mean, they've been dominant all year. They've only have had 4 losses, and they're going to play the winner of Nashville and Robinson for the Class 2A state championship.
Hard to ask for a more complete showing than what Peoria Notre Dame showed us in this one. They win it by 46 points. Quick math almost failed me there, Michael, but 46-point win. When you can almost hang 50 on someone in a state semifinal, that's how you know you're legit. And Peoria Notre Dame is going to have a good chance, whether it's Robinson or Nashville, on Saturday. And we'll have that game for you on Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, that should be a good one. And like you said, Joey, you hang 50 on a team in the state playoffs and in anything, whether it's a regional final or the state semifinals, I mean, you just know you're legit because those are great teams you play. Not so much in the regional semifinals because those are the teams that, you know, every team gets in the basketball playoffs. So some teams, you know, aren't necessarily the greatest, but you know, when you get past that regional championship game, you start to play some teams. And Peoria Notre Dame from the start for the postseason to the finish of it now, they get to play on Saturday. They've been dominant. Before
we sign off at Sefcu Arena, player of the game, my vote, it's easy, Lexi Bear. 6 of 7 from deep, 18 points.
It's either, in my opinion, it's either Julia Mingus because she's been dominant all game too, or like you said, Joy Lexi Bear. But I'll say Julia Mingus because she was very aggressive. She was someone who, you know, was very, very aggressive driving in the shoot layups, and she was also a pest on defensive end, so great showing from her.
Absolutely. Julia Mingus, 7 of 9 from the field, 17 points, 2 of 4 from 3. Hit a free throw in there too, had 2 rebounds. Lexi Bear, though, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 6 of 7 from three-point land, an assist in there too. Mingus and Bear keying PND to a big win. Caitlin Cassidy had 10 points for the Irish. Maya Wardle had 7 points. Emmy Wardle had 4 points off the bench. Allie Stickelmeyer had 6 points. Cora Hines wound up with 7 points on 2 field goals and 3 free throws. Leading rebounder was also Bear with 7, but Caitlin Cassidy had 6, and 9 assists from Maya Wardle to lead that category for PND. Michael, any final thoughts before we say goodbye at Sefcu Arena? Be back here on Saturday.
When we looked at Regina Dominican, we knew that, you know, the teams that they played heading into the postseason, you know, there are teams that not a lot of people can say that, you know, they've seen before, that they've heard before, but nonetheless, they're here for a reason. They're still a great team no matter the final score. And we also talk about how young they are. They're going to be back next year and probably even the year after because they have so many sophomores on their team. But like I said about Peoria Notre Dame, a very talented team and very deep team. and they showed out from start to finish. A great win for the Irish.
Absolutely, Michael. Glad to have the call with you. You sounded great. A lot of fun here courtside at FQ Arena. Big thanks to our entire crew, Dalton Carmine, Brock Engel, Jonathan Michael. I'm Joey Wright. That's where we'll leave it at FQ Arena. Peoria Notre Dame takes down Regina Dominican 71-25, and they will play for a Class 2A state final on Saturday. We'll have coverage from not only that game, but the Illini Bluffs Okawville Class 1A state final. 11 and 1 o'clock tip-offs. Illini Bluffs, then Peoria Notre Dame. Thanks for being with us all day long. More coverage coming up on ClutchSportsIL.com tomorrow as well. 71-25, PND wins. They'll play for a state title. Regina Dominican will face Nashville or Robinson tonight for third. And as I start to ramble on, that's where we'll leave it. Thanks for listening on ClutchSportsIL.com. Have a great rest of your Thursday, a great Friday. We'll see you right back here on Saturday.